What is the worst movie you've ever seen? Go on, you can be honest with me. I won't get mad. At least I think I won't. While we're seeing a rise of really, really, really good movies nowadays, you also gotta take into consideration that there's gonna be an equal amount of garbage that comes. For every Dune Part 2, you got a Madam Web. For every The Substance, you have the It Ends With Us. For every Long Legs, you have The Front Room. There's been so many good movies this year and so many horrible ones. And it's crazy to think that two of those movies that came out this year are some of the worst I have ever seen in my entire life. Halloween Ends is still the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, but God, Madam Web It Ends With Us, kind of pushing it very close. It's always going to be a thing. No matter how many times you watch something that makes you happy, there's always something on the horizon that's just looming over you, waiting to strike. But that's just the boring bad stuff. Where's the fun bad? I can name an example this year. Afraid. Afraid was fun bad. It goes by very fast, so you don't have to worry about it just looming constantly. You could be done with it in like an hour, and it's really fucking funny. When you think of the greatest bad movie of all time, though, what comes to mind? I can't name any examples from memory because I only have one on my mind, but we're gonna get to that. Y'all know about The Room, right? Come on, you gotta know about The Room. The Room is always listed as the greatest bad movie of all time, and you know what? I can kind of see that. It's so fucking weird, but it feels like a passion project. You either see some of the biggest low scores of all time or some of the biggest praises for this thing. It's a piece of history, really. Now, I've seen The Room, and I could tell you that yes, it is so fucking funny, but it's not the greatest bad movie of all time. Because recently, I discovered something even greater. A movie that's so unhinged, so crazy, so insane, so hilarious that I genuinely can't believe that it's real. A movie that made me sit down and think, a movie that left a giant permanent smile across my face all the way through. What kind of movie could do that? Obviously not something that's the greatest of all time, but something that's both the greatest and the worst, but in all of the best ways possible. Ladies and gentle peeps, I bring to the table House 2, The Second Story. Hear me out, goddammit. This movie is a fever dream unlike any other. You may think at first glance that it's one of those stupid low budget cheesy 80s horror movies, and you'd be right. But this one is so tone deaf, so all over the place, so much being both like a labor of love and a suicide note that you can't help but appreciate it. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real. I'm still thinking about it right now. It does not feel real. I saw this a couple weeks ago and it is just so crazy. So, with Halloween looming on the horizon, the one time of the year where traumatizing someone is actually okay, I thought that I could introduce those unaware of this thing to this thing. Because how the hell are you not watching this right now? Yep, I'm gonna spend this entire video just going through this thing, piece by piece, analyzing it, recapping it, doing everything I can to honor it, because that's what this deserves. This is, no joke, the greatest bad movie I've ever seen in my life. Movies really don't get better than this. But like I said, Halloween is looming on the horizon. Maybe I should do something for it. Hmm. Oh. Maybe I should be a little festive with it. I know just what to do. Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic, guy, remember? So you don't have to. Now see, this is how you commit to the bit, alright? It's Halloween, man. I gotta go all out for this thing. If I don't have some kind of gimmick right now to hold this all together, then it's just gonna be nothing. So why not do something that's gonna solicit a reaction? Here we are, man. Fucking nostalgia critic, why not? I mean, that's pretty much what this feels like. I said to myself that if I was ever gonna talk about this movie, I wanted to do it like a nostalgia critic episode. So here we are, man. We're committing to the bit. Directed by Ethan Wiley, House 2: The Second Story is a masterpiece of lunacy. A bona fide cavalcade of utter insanity brought to us by, naturally, one of the biggest names in the horror industry. Yep, this is a Sean S. Cunningham joint by some ungodly chance, mostly because he's produced more movies than he's directed. And he's stuck by this franchise in all 4 of its installments. The guy who co-created one of the most iconic horror franchises of all time with Friday the 13th also produced the greatest bad movie of all time. And that's just neat. There's not an ounce of a boring moment here. It's one baffling scene after the next, with some iconic characters, weirdly amazing practical effects, zero connection to the first one, and a plot that follows through what Indiana Jones would be doing 20 years later. I've been itching to show this to people, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Trust me, you're gonna fucking thank me later. So grab your cowboy hats and dinosaur rags. Yup, and let's take a look at House 2: The Second Story. You already know what it is. There's only one way to start a movie like this, and that's by using the greatest use of plagiarism in horror history. The random people getting axed off in the opening to show what the killer is capable of. A couple living in a mansion activate the secret ghoul room by giving their baby to some randos, causing a light to start glowing upstairs. They go investigate and find Slim Reeser, a ghost that's trying to find a skull that's somewhere in the house.
The skull.
Oh yeah, that's Frank Welker, by the way. Scooby-Doo himself. We're probably just gonna start a count of huge names that are somehow attached to this thing. Sean S. Cunningham's already one, so that makes it 2.
Give me the skull.
And that's it for the horror scenes in this movie. Yup. I mean it. From this point on, the entire rest of the movie shifts completely into a comedy. So I hope you enjoyed the horror while it lasted. You're getting the sloppy 83rds now. 25 years later, the baby grows up to be Jesse, played by Aria Gross, who's about to move into the mansion with his girlfriend Kate, played by Laura Park Lincoln.
Oh, it's big, isn't it?
Yep. It's definitely not built to code.
I have no input on this. There is seemingly a spot where the skull from before might have sat, but we're not supposed to figure that out yet, so have these baby pictures instead. There's no eyes there.
That was pretty cute.
Later that night, the two are trying to sleep when something starts to bump somewhere downstairs. Jesse, naturally, gets domed by a Three Stooges routine. You gotta start somewhere, right? And so, it begins. Side note, this is going to become one of the best running gags in the whole movie, so you know damn well I'm keeping all of them in. These two are Charlie and Lana, played by Jonathan Stark and Amy Aspect, and they seem to be stable enough.
Oh. Happy birthday to you!
So at almost random points in the movie, there's these little fade outs that they decide to throw in. I don't even know. Well, we need some kind of plot to hold us over for now, so... Lana's shown to be a singer called Puce Glitz, fucking ew, who's trying to get an offer from some big record producers, but you don't gotta worry about that. And she and Charlie make sure that this movie knows what it's gonna eventually turn out to be.
Oh no! We don't believe in success.
Yeah, we want to make a lot of money and be real famous, but no success.
No, there's a very subtle difference, you know.
Can you spot what's true here? I think you do.
Hey, Jess, what you doing there, huh?
Charlie finds Jesse later and catches him reading up on some good old-fashioned family lore. He says that the person in the photo he's looking at is his great-great-grandfather, a cowboy who's holding a skull supposedly made up of raw crystal. Slim Reeser's also in the photo, and Jesse explains that he became rivals with him after he failed to get the skull for himself. Slap some kind of reward with it giving eternal life and literally unlocking the mysteries of the universe. And this is already looking to be leagues better than the actual crystal skull we would have gotten later on down the line. Now, if it was a dial of destiny... No, I'm not gonna do that.
There's an old cemetery up on the hill. Jesse was buried there in 1916.
Jesse says that this great-great-grandfather of his is buried in a cemetery nearby, so they go out to fish him out of the dirt.
Charlie. Huh? We got it. Oh, no.
They open the coffin and immediately find the skull, but the other bones inside are much more petty about that.
My great-great-grandson?
20 minutes in, and cinema's greatest hero of all time is finally here. Fucking Gramps! Yes! Gramps, played to perfection by Royal Dano, is too peak of a character to keep relegated to words, so I'm just gonna let you witness him for yourself. I mean, this guy left me in tears by the end. That should already say it enough for words.
What year is it?
I don't know.
Now, don't you mess with me, boy.
1986!
October 30th,
1986!
God damn. You know, I've been awaiting over 70 years for some jackass to get the sense to come dig me up.
It's too early for dick riding. After bringing Gramps to the mansion, he puts the skull in the podium, which seems to get the juices flowing again.
Remember, boys, this house is a temple. As fantastic as any pyramid or castle you'll ever see.
Never meet your idols, kid. Now, at this point, I knew I was gonna like this guy just because he made me feel for him so damn badly.
I ain't gonna die if it's the last thing I do.
But my love then grew 3 sizes like the fucking Grinch when the last thing you would expect to happen just fucking happens.
Let it out slow. There you go, real slow.
Hell yes.
Wow!
The next day, though, the least likely of faces shows up out of nowhere. I'm sure this is gonna go great.
Jesse! You old golf bag. How are you?
So I was ripe on riding the highs of this movie all the way to the end, but when fucking Bill Maher showed up, I was just confused. This guy's a mixed bag with the entire social and political spectrums, and I don't know jack shit about him besides being aware he has an HBO show. So we're just skipping over this and getting back to the real movie now. I'm a little pensive now releasing this so close to Election Day, but it's Halloween, so I just don't care. All I need is more Gramps! Jesse and Charlie ask Gramps about Slim Reeser, and he reveals that he actually shot him and left him to die in the desert after they had an argument about who the skull belonged to. Slim took the first shot, though, so it was perfectly justified.
We had a disagreement about who the skull belonged to.
What did you do?
I shot the scallywag is what I did. Well, he took a shot at me first, so I had to teach him a lesson.
Later on, though, the two hear music upstairs and discover that a party is going on right the hell out of nowhere.
I invited some people over for Halloween. I forgot. Sorry. Enjoy. Hey, Jeff, how you doing? Hey, get over here.
Also out of nowhere, Jesse is found by an old partner of his named Rochelle, played by Jane Modine.
Guess who?
After she kisses him, Jesse not only notices that Bill Maher is planning a snitching operation, but Gramps is ripping it up on the dance floor and probably not beating the allegations anytime soon.
It looks like he's about to score.
But before he can dip away from OVO, the skull starts to glow again, which opens the floodgates for men to come out of the walls. He fake punches some dude off of a railing, but right hooks my comfort character, god damn it! And he takes the skull and tees back into the walls. So we're a little over 30 minutes into this thing now, and so far, it's been the least horror a horror movie has been. But we still got zombie cowboy granddads, magic crystal skulls, so maybe something more creepy could come along? Whatever you might be thinking of next, just throw it away completely, and stop thinking. Just do it. Never gonna guess this next bit, that's for sure. Jesse and Charlie follow suit and open the doors where Stone Cold Steve Austin went into and discovered the entire East Coast, also known as grass and trees. Thankfully, they don't need to go in raw because Charlie just so happens to keep a fuck ton of guns on him.
Charlie, this is a machine gun.
So?
So, what about me? What do I get?
They go inside and investigate and just... What? I don't know how real human people came together to make this fever dream happen, but whoever stuck Dinosaur Island on the bulletin board of ideas should be running New World Pictures right now. I really wish I could go back in time and watch this for the first time again, because this was one of the biggest times I could feel my jaw physically drop. The cut from the two walking through the jungle to a stop-motion brontosaurus with a volcano in the background is the reason why the camera was invented in the first place. At the same time, this is the point in the movie where the special effects weirdly start to get pretty good. The movie's special effects artist Chris Wallace has worked on some pretty big name stuff. He not only did the creature effects for The Fly and the melting heads from the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, but he's also the guy who designed the Gremlins. He worked on a few creatures in this movie that we're about to see coming up, but thinking about how he would do all that later on after this movie's release is kind of insane to think about. Jesse and Charlie find the skull, but are apprehended by Steve Austin, who gives us our classic 80s flinging someone across the room shot. My biggest question is how the hell they do those, because it just baffles me. He's taken care of pretty quickly, though, as another one of Wallace's creations finally gets their spotlight. I've been rooting for that guy. But as they go to reclaim the skull, an entire-ass pterodactyl flies by and lets his intrusive thoughts win today. He drops it at its nest on top of a tree, which cracks one of the eggs in the process, and as Jamie climbs up to it, the egg hatches, ultimately giving birth to a baby... bird? Am I just stupid, or is that child adopted? To hell with that, it's probably not her kid. Let's drop his ass. But it looks like another creature stowed away with them, and this one just loves feet.
Hey.
This absolute gem of a critter is the Catter Puppy, and in this house, we absolutely cherish the Catter Puppy. He's not only the only creature in this movie that isn't an absolute dick, but he's also a perfect example of, again, just how good the practical effects are.
Hey, Jess, can we keep him? Well, who's gonna take care of him, Charlie?
I'll feed him, change his water and stuff.
The pterodactyl ends up skedaddling upstairs with the skull, though, so the two try to go up and catch it, just as Bill Maher reminds me I could be watching the movie right now. The child endangerment feels justified right now, but I just hate seeing him.
What might be in that closet there?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, can I see? John, I just told you there's nothing in the closet.
Well, let me see nothing in the closet.
Thankfully, we don't have to worry, as Gramps finally shows up again looking for a beer, and no, why are we putting him away? God damn it! The breaking point seems to be reached, so Jesse explains everything that led up to right now, and just hearing him recounting looking for a skull and Gramps just being alive just reminds us how ridiculous all this sounds in retrospect.
All right, now Charlie and I, last night, went to the cemetery and we dug up my great-great-grandfather's grave. Because we were looking for a crystal skull. It's supposed to be magic. We dug it up, And we got the skull, but we also found my great-great-grandfather. He's dead, but he's alive. And he's a mummy, and we brought him back, and he's been staying in the basement. And that's who's in there for your information, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Okay, good. I missed him.
Hi, Rochelle. What are you doing in here? There's been a mistake.
Apparently.
Ow! Look! It's a prehistoric bird!
Kate!
But things start looking up afterwards as Bill Maher finally pieces out of the fucking movie, and Gramps is shown to have just kinda switched places with Rochelle. Okay. Jesse and Charlie also get the skull back from the possible hybrid of nature by using the power of sirloin. And on top of all of that, the greatest cut of all time happens completely out of nowhere, and it's just beautiful to witness.
I don't have any more steak.
No, I know that smells good. I know it smells good. Then he's gonna have it ready right away.
Gramps brings the skull back to the podium, and after it starts to glow, he begins to sense that he might not be alone.
Bippy, you little rascal. You scared the bejesus out of me.
But Gramps really isn't alone, as he's immediately fucking curb stomped by a couple of people in masks who take the skull for themselves. And then the most devastating scene of the entire movie happens, and I'm immediately just a pile of tears on the ground. And the fact that the Catter Puppy stays with him overnight, oh my god!
Yeah.
Bill Towner, electrician.
So because the counter was feeling a little lonely and needed another famous name in it, John Ratzenberger of Pixar fame shows up as Bill the electrician. I promise he's the last one in the counter, I swear on it. Though, him showing up out of nowhere made me completely forget why he even showed up in the first place.
These old houses, they just got minds of their own, you know, and you just gotta teach them who's boss. You know, sort of give them a spanking. Must be foreign made.
But now I'm glad he's here. He was apparently called there to do some house repairs, so he uses a doodad to listen to the house like a wine connoisseur. The house may be making more unusual house noises, so he sends Jesse off to just go do something while he works.
I like to be alone with my work, so if you don't mind. You got something to do?
Sure.
Go do it, buddy. Go do it.
Naturally, he and Charlie investigate the fireplace the masked guys came out of and find the secret hell button. Go find one in your own house after you're done watching this video.
See anything? Forget it.
John Pixar, on the other hand, finds the build-up to a forgotten second Three Stooges routine and sees that
Looks like
they
you
got
got
some
some
kind
kind
of
of
alternate
alternate
universe
universe
in
in
there
there
or
or something.
something. A temple seems to be inside the walls, and
I've been through this kind of thing before. Just don't touch anything till I get there.
I have no input on this. They follow some distant baloney noises and find the Eyes Wide Shut room where even more masked guys are about to sacrifice a woman with the skull as an offering.
Hey, Jess, now, is she a virgin? Because I've never seen one before. She's really dynamite, man.
Oh well, the credits don't lie. Why do the credits not lie? Did I mention this also literally looks like the last room from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Somehow it's even harder to tell who's copying who. They cause a stir by making themselves seen, and Charlie just naturally gives the most white guy response I've ever heard.
Well, hey, come on, come on. Well, I'm sorry. We thought that she was somebody that we knew. Go ahead, enjoy. It's okay.
And to top it all off, I should have really had a counter for comparisons to it. A fight scene breaks out, and do I even need to say it anymore? You have Chris Wallace as your effects artist. Something's clearly happening here. Jesse and Charlie get the skull back and save the woman while Indy Hammer Jones stays behind to fight off the what the fuck.
Oh, Charlie, good to see you back. I started to get a little concerned here.
I have no input on this. Oh, sorry. Dinner time.
Well, where the hell's the food?
I'll go check. I guess I'd just like to thank everyone for their special contribution to the meal. I guess I think of all of you as well, my family now.
That was well put, son. Now let's eat.
I deadass forgot that Slim Reeser was even a character, and this, of all things, caught me off guard. He rises to the tune of the dinner bell, I don't fucking know, and he stands before our beloved Gramps ready to settle the beef.
Charlie! He's mine.
And reversing what happened to him, Slim Reeser immediately just fucking shoots him. Charlie goes after him and finds the skull missing again for, what, the 5th time already? And Jesse takes the wounded Gramps to rest in bed, not before he gives him one last weapon.
You're gonna need this. He's the one that killed your ma and pa.
And now it's time for House 2, the second story, to cherish who it truly is, a goddamn spaghetti western. Now that's how you bed genres the right way. Fuck you, Folia-do! The hunt's on for Slim Reeser, and because the mansion is apparently a portal to alternate universes, I don't know, even the movie doesn't tell you, he literally dives back in time and winds up in the Old West.
Oh my God.
Charlie and the woman are about to be hung by a ghoul. Some words work so beautifully together. And Slim Reeser makes himself known in the most fruity way possible. Speaking of, House 2, the second story, finally comes out of the closet. Congratulations for showing who you always were, little buddy. But just as quickly as that's all going down, the fight ends up continuing on inside of the mansion just as police begin to roll out into the yard in the only way they ever could. Damn it, this movie's good. And it's starting to look like the fight's gonna near its end. But guess who's still got the demon core? Now, I was almost fully convinced with these looks Jesse gives that he was gonna shoot the skull. I don't know what led me to believe it, because, I mean, it really looks like he's going to. In any other movie, that would have been the way to clear away all the ghouls and goblins, but in this movie, Gramps is here. So fuck that noise, it's time to stretch that PG-13 rating to its fucking limit. Say it with me now. If it ain't red, then nothing was bled. You're gonna want to study that for next class. And then, oh yeah, more tears.
Did you blow his head off? That's a good boy.
For all this movie's credit, Royal Dano is the perfect guy to play Gramps. Even with how ridiculous this movie is from all the crazy shit going on, he hasn't slipped once in this entire performance. Everybody else seems to be trying to keep up with how crazy the movie is, but he's a perfect spot of humanity, and it really shines here especially.
I love you, Gramps.
I love you too, Jesse.
You almost forget what movie you're watching here. That's how amazing he is. But then you immediately remember when another one of the biggest accounts of horror plagiarism happens, the movie ending with a burning house just because... spectacle. Jesse then sees that the light is calling to him. With his new band of goons in tow, he walks into it and is greeted to a true Gramps special, the Wild Motherfucking West. He finally gives Gramps the memorial he absolutely deserves, and decides to stay in this new world with Charlie, the woman, and Chris Wallace's signatures. It was truly meant to be. That was House 2, the second story. Still better than Dial of Destiny. It's honestly so heartwarming to see a movie that looks like there was genuine passion put into it. For how much it feels like it's including a Saturday Night Live bulletin board of ideas, it's easy to follow, and it delivers exactly what you would want and everything you wouldn't want, if you're serious about these movies, that is. But who the hell is serious about these? They're designed to be ridiculous, and this is abnormal levels of peak. For your next bad movie night, pick this one out and you're gonna be the life of the party. This is the one that's gonna achieve world peace, even for just a second. Because this is, truly, in its own way, a work of art. I'm Inverted City, and if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna be waiting for Channel Awesome to read my resume.